Dental people is now also an okay time. Wonderful. Would either Chris or Jake mind kicking us off while I collect my thoughts?
Okay, I'll go.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's see. Last week, I edited the weekly stand-up notification. I guess with some info I had found in a previous notification. I'm sure y'all saw it since you used it to join. That it's basically just covering some information about the scrum ceremonies and etiquette for the call. I met with my brother to discuss the lesson plan layouts for the WIKISPEED curriculum project. Got him all the basically did a brain dump to him with what I remembered that I was working on and printouts of all the stuff I had written up. And he's looking at that. I replied to a post on WIKISPEED's Facebook page suggesting we check out Liquid Pistons engines. I also just created a card in the Carica master backlog about that story. I just looked at it briefly. They look like small, like engines more designed to run like a lawnmower, something like that. But I didn't get any specifications on them. They may be usable. So I put a post on my Facebook asking for help locating shop space um, for a local WIKISPEED shop, and put the basic criteria that I'm looking for. So I got a suggestion from one of my Facebook friends of a place that may be inexpensive and fits the criteria. So for next week, I'm going to look into pricing and details for the suggested shop space. Um, I'm going to continue working on the WIKISPEED curriculum project, and I guess I'll probably have to pair with Joe on this, but I wanted to determine the additional shipping cost for the New Zealand chassis to Texas. Um, Other than that, I guess my only block is I forgot to take a picture of the accelerator extension module before I shipped it off with the car. So I think that chassis 7 may be back there now, but whenever it is, I'd like to get a picture of that for the online store. And that should be it for me. If are we going to do retrospective and process improvement suggestion now, or wait for a second round?
Your call, Chris.
I usually like to wait because sometimes other people's stand up changes my retrospective score.
I'm in.
So that's it for me.
Okay. Jake, would you mind going next?
Yeah, I'll go.
Thanks.
Okay, so let's see. Got in the car. We got the engine to turn over. We haven't gotten it to run. So that's the update on that. We got the car that showed up last week that in the shop, and the back wheels are off, or the back wheels aren't off, but the back suspension modules with the wheels attached are off, and that's ready to have the axles switched. So that's something that maybe could happen today. Let's see. I can't think of much else that's happened directly related to the car. The welders seem to have finished up the thing that they were welding. Oh, and the guy, what was it, Matt, who was here, or Matson or something?
Yeah, Matt.
Yeah, the intern. He finished his thing, and he just needs a box for it. So that seems to be the rundown from what I can recall of what's happened.
I know there's even more, but it's hard to remember.
Yeah.
At the end of the week, I know you did even more than that, but yeah, it's hard to remember at the end of the week.
Yeah, so possibly other things happened as well. All right, is there anything else I should mention, or?
What do you think we're going to get done next week before we head out? Any blocking issues? Anything slowing you down or making you less happy?
Yeah, it would be super awesome to have like a little bit more knowledge and direction of what needs to get done and how to do it going forward to try to get these cars ready. Um, Milo's a little ADD, so it'd be nice to have some direction on my own so I can help uh, direct that process. So that would be helpful. Um, and yeah, I think that we are getting things done, and so that's good. So that's what I got to say about that.
Okay, all right. I'm in. Thanks to Chris and Jake for going first. I was able to collect my thoughts, and I've got, I don't know, probably a good percentage of what happened in the last sprint that I know about. Okay, here's what I've got. It's probably close to the reality. Last week, I ordered a 3D scanner to scan our headlight shapes so they could be incorporated into the aeroshell CAD. Traditionally, that's been a problem and a slowdown point. The headlights are not a box, they're not a convenient shape, and trying to get them into our aeroshells has always left a rain gap and also aerodynamic drag. So this guy, I used at the Big M manufacturing conference last year, and I finally ordered one. I found it fairly cheaply on Amazon. It's a little handheld 3D scanner that works with GeoMagic, our CAD program. It's vended by the same company, 3D Systems. Another company makes it, but they vend it and support it. So we should be able to get the CAD in formats we're used to. Then I arranged for a welder to complete engine cradle number 5. I ended up paying him $200. His name's Chris. He's not a certified welder, but his welds, I think, are perfectly structural. He would have cost even more if he was a certified welder. And by the way, he didn't actually charge us anything. He said, "No, I'm good." And I said, "Here's $200." He said, "Well, thank you very much." So he was extremely cool about it. I'm impressed with him as a person. I started sorting the wiring on the electronics shelf in the Linwood shop. We have multiple spools of wire and then clippings too. They're mixed. I started sorting them so we have a faster part search time for electronics. I posted the National Chris Wallace Appreciation Sprint on Facebook and then tweeted it and then emailed it to the team. I posted 5 new blogs to wikispeed.org and I tweeted one of them and I Facebooked one of them. The rest could be Facebooked and tweeted, but I did one. I sketched an update to the transmission linkage. Here, I'll show that. These are some Homewood Suites bedside tablets. There's page 2. This is what happens when you don't sleep in a hotel room. And page 3, here's the shift linkage and parking brake linkage sketches. And finally, how to get over the midsection brace in the chassis. I don't know if any of those are legitimate, but they're sketches that sounded good in my mind. I'll know more when I actually put them in CAD, thanks, and maybe when I make them in real life. So I sketched an update to the transmission linkage, I sketched an update to the parking brake linkage, and I sketched an update to the modular steering column pivot. I got Michael Wolchek's shipping address just today. I had it before, but I'd lost it. So I got it again today to ship the suspension to him. And with Chris's and Jake's help, I kitted 5 windows and a floor platform for the next gen micro house prototype. We'll see where that goes, but it's kitted. Then I onboarded Mattson, a new intern, today, and I set him up with a project which he made progress on, as Jake just reported, which is a lighting control module. Next week, I'll attempt to take a product photo of the accelerator pedal extension that Chris Wallace just mentioned. I'll attempt to add a sketch of the transmission linkage, I'll attempt to CAD a sketch of the parking brake linkage. I'll attempt to CAD a sketch of the modular steering column pivot. Tonight, I'm going to swarm with Jake and Milo and maybe Rob Huggins. We'll see who else comes by Linwood to install one set of axles. Then I'll continue sorting wires on the electronics shelf. I'll try to get that done. I don't know if I'll have time, but next up would be scanning headlights. That might not happen until next week, but I'll do it when I can. I'll try to learn the 3D scanner. I'll try tonight to find Vortrud's controller and joysticks to ship them with the suspension to Michael Olchek that he mentioned, which is a good idea. And then I hope tonight to take the suspension back off chassis 8 and take it to FedEx, because they'll also just they'll crate and ship it for us and drop it off to be shipped to Canada by FedEx freight. Now it is probably going to cost a ton of money, but totally worth it. So I should at least be able to get the rear suspension shipped to Michael Wilczek. The front suspensions I have a set, but I think he wants the next gen, which I still haven't made. But maybe I can get a for years in the group. Blocking issue. What blocking issues do I have? I don't think I have a complete matching set of bolt together axles. I think Michael Wilczek has the most recent set. And I don't know if the lower A-arms on the suspension that we have in the Linwood shop match any of our axle length. I don't know. What I need to do is check if axle lengths match suspension A-arm length. What other blocks do I have? I don't yet know how to use the 3D Sense scanner. If someone already knows how to use it, please talk me through it. That might speed up the progress. And I need another water jet cutter or fabrication shop to make basically water jet cut parts out of aluminum plate. The shop we have is really slow and has been making mistakes. But I have no other options. I've just been taking it. So I need other options of water jet cutters, even if they're not local. So we have to ship aluminum back and forth. Ideally in the Seattle area. I only know of one, and it's not going as well as I'd like. Now, those are the blocks I've got that I know about. Oh, I should say also last week, I onboarded a CPA to help file WIKISPEED federal taxes, back taxes, which is important because we're trying to run a legitimate CPA club / business. I think that's what I got. That takes us to, well, is there anyone on the call with the stand-up who has not yet given it? Michael, were you able to connect?
I think I have. Can you hear me?
Yes, please continue.
Okay, excellent. Haven't got a lot to report for the week. I'm still struggling trying to test the open source AC controller. Haven't made any progress on the cheap AC controller. It continues to not generate as much torque as I really need in order to move the car. So our 5 horsepower motors running off the generator have kind of stalled in there. And I'm struggling to get a DC controller into my car so that I can concentrate on WIKISPEED stuff again. So that's about it for the week. That's probably mostly what I'm going to be doing next week, is trying to get some of this testing done. And it would be nice if I could get around to taking some video and some pictures and show you guys what I'm up to. But it always seems to be less important than getting progress done. So I'm sure you're familiar with the problem. Blocks, except for my time. And you had mentioned something, Joe, about the suspension. Oh, if the suspension, if the axles don't fit, I can probably get them modded up here. We have a water jet, or actually a couple of water jet cutters that are local, but the shipping would be hideous, so I don't think that's a workable solution. But if you have the, what kind of files do they normally take? STLs or step files?
Mostly, yeah. They like STLs or DXFs for water jet cutting.
Okay, I'll see if I can find the files in the Dropbox. My Dropbox promotional stuff has expired, so I'm down to 2 gigs. So I'm horribly over. and I'll see if it'll let me even download what I have access to in the CAD files. If not, I'll get a hold of you.
Okay. Well, for axle length, the axles are harder to change length than the suspension. The lower A-arms, which can be water jet cut, they dictate what length axle the car accepts, and they're actually pretty cheap and easy to make or modify. I just don't know if I have any lower A-arms that already match the axles in the shop that I have right now. I don't know if I have matching sets, but if I had to change the two, it's much easier to change the A-arms than the axles in my current experience.
Okay. I was looking to try those couplers out. I had posted about a coupler probably 3 months ago. I haven't bought any as yet because I was waiting for a set of axles to try them on. So if these don't fit, then like if the suspension doesn't fit with the axles that I've got, I will probably cut down a set and try and use the couplers to get them to the right lengths as opposed to welding.
Although, if I recall, our current best set of bolt-together modular axles are with you in Saskatoon. I seem to remember shipping those to you sometime in 2014. I hope they arrive.
I have a set of welded axles because that's all you had. I have not seen the bolt-together axles so far.
No, and I'll also remember where I deployed those. Okay, I don't recall. I thought you had them. Okay. Anything else to add to your stand-up? Anything blocking you, slowing you down, or making you less happy?
Nope, all external to WIKISPEED.
Yeah, well, I dig it. It's life. Cool. Is there anyone on the call with the stand-up who is not yet given it? Excellent. That takes us to our perspective. I'll kick us off. For myself, a 7. I actually did get quite a bit done, but I'm grumpy, and I don't know why. So I've got to figure that out. I think it's something to do with my role. I don't know what. I will get to the bottom of it, but I'm grumpy. I'll give myself a 7. I'm still productive. For the team, a 10. Jacobson, Matson, new intern, rocked it today. Jake has been rocking it for the last 10 days. Milo is completely insane and crazy, but gets a lot done. Yeah. And National Chris Wallace Appreciation Week, I didn't get to it till the end of the week, so I basically, the Facebook post called it all the month of May. But I enjoyed that, so that was a fun improvement. Yeah, so I'll say 7 for me, 10 for the team. And process improvement, I'm interested to hear what other folks would suggest, but I'll propose calling next sprint, even though all of May is really for Chris Wallace. I'll propose calling next sprint National Rob Morbacher Appreciation Sprint. Just for fun, and because this is supposed to be fun, and if we don't have fun with it or each other, missing the whole point, in my opinion. Let's the process improvement I'll suggest, and we'll see what other ideas there are, and then we'll. Who would like to go next?
I'll go. So I'll say maybe like an 8 for me, which would have been lower, except I actually, I did offer up my hair and beard for donations, so I think I had to bump the score up a little bit. And then definitely a 10 for the team. Everybody is kicking ass, so that is awesome. And this week I did not get around to at least writing a process improvement down. Yeah, so I don't have one.
Okay, let me know if you think of something. Who would like to go next?
Well, I guess it'll be me because Jake didn't jump up and say yes. I'm going to give myself a 5 because I really haven't gotten very much done. I've tried, but it hasn't really worked very well for me. And I'm going to go with a 9 for the team. More chatter going back and forth about more topics would be awesome. And I'm still looking for that, looking for some pictures and still frames from the other shops. I'm just as guilty as anyone. And I haven't gotten around to testing that application or the really, really annoying application that shows way too many advertising. I haven't gotten past that and configured it. Process of improvement. Why not? Let's make it Rob Moormacher week. That's it for me.
Sure. Hey, Jake, you're up. Do you mind?
Yeah, okay, so I'll give myself a 7. I think I could have got more done. I had a little bit more wherewithal of what the hell was going on, but whatever. Give the team definitely a 9. It was got a lot of stuff got done, a lot of different people pulling their weight, so that was great. And process improvement. I'll think of one later. I don't know. I can't think of one right now.
Yeah, I dig it. It's hard. It's hard. That's how the team gets happier and faster. That's the method. Okay. Is there anyone with a retrospective who has not yet given it? Success. All right. That takes us to choosing the process improvement. The proposed process improvement that I remember, Jake said he didn't have a thought yet. Chris said he didn't have a thought yet. Michael Wolchek said, why not National Rob Moorbacher Pre-Weekend Sprint? I suggested National Rob Moorbacher Pre-Weekend Sprint. Any other suggestions? Any improvements to the current suggestion? Okay. All in favor of the so far single proposed process improvement, please say awesome.
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 Okay, then that's happened. Criteria, I'll propose an acceptance criteria, which is emailing Rob Moorbacher. What does he want us to try to do to celebrate National Rob Moorbacher National Rob Moorbacher? And hopefully he'll write back to the team. I'll write it to him and CC the team, and that's the acceptance criteria I'll propose. And then I'll also say I'll try to do whatever he emails back. I'll attempt it. Anyone else have other ideas on how to enact that process improvement? All right, there it is. Folks, that concludes the Team Weekly Stand-Up. Now it's open to general conversations. We've got a max of 15 minutes before the vote starts tonight. If we need it, great. If we don't need it, all great. Any topics for the group?
So did you have an intern starting, or I didn't quite catch who. So are they working on the lighting controller?
Yeah, this new dude, he seems awesome. His first name is Mattson. I don't remember his last name. He graduated just 2 weeks ago from University of Washington in electrical engineering, and he's currently job hunting. He said while he's job hunting, he wants to put time towards a project that he thinks is cool to continue building his resume and to stay sharp. And him being an EE guy who's worked with Arduino before as part of his capstone project, the lighting controller requires fabbing up a enclosure, and he has access to a 3D printer at UW to do that. And then there's many ways to do it, but the proposal that I thought he would rock and I would like is an Arduino board with a 16-channel relay shield, and he knows how to program those and put that in there, and then wire up switches to the front, and then wire up outputs to the back, and then wire and crimp the connectors to the headlights, taillights, center high mounted taillight, horn, windshield wiper. And he made some headway on that today. And he seems like a totally nice guy.
Okay, I was just wondering whether it made sense for him to take a shot at soldering that joystick on, because it's been sitting there for a while, and I just thought it would be good to make some progress.
Yeah, totally, I agree. The first step to that is finding the joystick and Vortrides controller, because I don't know where they are. I started cleaning the electronics shelf today, or I should say sorting, to try to find it, because the idea was all electronics projects are on these two big green shelves, but it's a rat's nest. I can't find anything. So So hopefully I can turn it up by cleaning.
Okay. Anything else we need to discuss?
That's what I've got. Oh, I do have something for you, Dr. Wolfcheck. I have a set of rear suspensions that I'm pretty happy with. I have a set of front suspensions that I'm not very happy with. And this is the same story has been going on for like a year. And I have a working version of suspensions that I'm happy with there in Germany. I've put them there and they're just not accessible. And I haven't made another set here yet. No, I don't think so. What I'd like to do is ship you rear suspension. You can start working with that and adapting axles and spinning tires. And what I'd like to do is give you front suspension later, and I hope that's soon. I'm working on a modular suspension right now. Actually, the sketches I did were all related to that. So hopefully it's in the near future. Wouldn't that be nice? But that would be my preference. Does that work for you?
Well, the rear suspension is definitely progress. I've got a donor car, which is a 1990 Chevy Sprint. I was gonna steal the brakes off it and the steering linkage and stuff like that. So I may be able to cobble together something that sort of looks like a suspension, or that looks like at least a wheel module, suspension module, and then bolt it to the front so I can at least roll forward. That's going to be severely stressing my mechanical skills, but we'll see if we can come up with.
Well, as I mentioned, I'm hoping to send you I hope, a really elegant front suspension. I just haven't made the one I want yet. And I have a front suspension here. It just has an Ackerman issue that's not good. And I feel silly to ship you something crummy. Whereas the rear suspension I'm pretty happy with. But I would, my intent is still to send you an elegant front suspension. I mean, you paid for one after all. And I'd really like your feedback on testing it and how to make it better.
Okay, yeah, split shipping is fine. Hopefully I can ship you back some other parts with the lighting controller, and maybe eventually when I get my shit together, some electric motor module parts. I still haven't solved the problem with getting the batteries across the border. I may actually have to get you to buy the batteries down there. But
No problem. For that now.
Oh, sorry, I didn't catch that.
I've got a few good sources for batteries down here now.
Okay. Yeah, just the question mark. It sounds like it depends on who I get as the inspector at the border and what mood they're in as to whether it'll go across. So it's just not worth the effort.
Oh, I hear you. Yeah, it's a racket, basically. Yeah, no problem. The engine module parts, the electric engine module parts are what I'm the most excited about. And hey, whenever they're ready, now or a decade from now, seriously, I'm excited. So we'll do the best we can with what we've got. Thank you so much, Dr. Wolfson.
So you want to hear any projections on what we're going to do later?
Yes.
So the Toyota Highlander hybrid, they use the rear axle is actually an electric motor with a gearbox built in.
Really?
So for in and around $1,400, depending on which wrecker you go to, you can get a 50 kilowatt motor combined with a single speed gearbox that has places to plug in axles. And if you get the axles, if you did the whole rear end, depending again on where you got it, it should be under $3,000.
Wow. That's a motor module right there. It just needs the control. Yes. It also needs the controller. But
Yes.
wow, that's awesome.
The controller is slightly more complicated. The motor is not a simple induction motor. It's actually using switched reluctance speed in order to get a little bit more high end out of the RPM range. But the open source controller has some libraries that we can use for the calculations. So Paul Holmes had a bit of a setback. He went to a funeral in I don't actually remember which city it was, and he ended up getting robbed. So they took his laptop and a couple of other things. So he's back a few steps. There's not going to be any changes to the code coming out of him for a little bit, but he was waiting on me for doing testing anyway. So.
Man, he got robbed on a funeral trip. That's horrible.
It is.
Well, 50 kilowatts is plenty. I'm a huge fan of that project as well. And there's enough of those that there's some available used. There might even be available new. I don't know the new price. That's just cool to think about.
Yeah, our local Toyota dealer is none of the salespeople and or parts people thought it was a serious enough inquiry to actually give me an answer on the pricing or the delivery.
That's just unkind. Okay, well, I'm glad to hear that data. It sounds good.
Yes, it sounds very promising. I'm hoping we'll make some progress on that in the next couple months.
Okay, Jake or Chris, anything else? Oh, Chris, you wanted to talk about how much to ship to Texas?
Yeah. I don't know how we even determine that. You probably have the contact information for where it's being stored, right?
Yeah, I actually know exactly how to determine that.
Okay.
So the people who are storing it are actually perfectly reasonable business people. They're just amazed that it's been more than a year since we paid to have it extracted from customs. They also do shipping. So right now, the quote they've given us is $823 to pay its custom import duties, which is perfectly reasonable, and ship it to Yohan in San Francisco. So all someone needs to do is call them and say, okay, we're not shipping it to the guy in San Francisco. He's currently not responding. Here's an address we can ship it. What would the price be to get it there? And we'll see if we can. So it's one phone call and a question.
Cool. Did you want me to call them?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have the number now, or should we not put that on the recording, or do you want to email or text it to me?
It's business. Like, this is what they do.
Okay, cool.
I am getting their number right now. It is loading, says Gmail. It is still loading, says Gmail. Wow, I've never seen Gmail take this long. Look at it. Wow, it's still loading. Okay. They're called Main Freight SFO. Our contact there, they've got a whole bunch of good people, but our contact is Gabrielle Vanisi, Vanisi.
Is it B as in Bravo? Or B?
V is in Victor.
Okay, cool.
Vanisi, Gabrielle Vanisi. And the number for her is 650-871-4747, and her extension is 128. You could probably talk to somebody else, but he knows about our deal.
That would be easy. You said 128, right? Extension 128?
Yeah, extension 128.
Can you copy and paste that into the group chat message thing? And
yeah, that's going to be smart. Here it comes. make it visible, right? So I just opened the chat box on the side. So for anybody who has the chat flyout open, her contact information just became visible. You see it, Chris?
There we go. Sorry, I was trying to get the chat open. Awesome. Yes, I can see it just fine.
Okay, yes, there's her office number and fax. Let me see if there's a number that refers to, yeah, this appears to be our reference number. Sadly, I think she remembers us by name, even though it's been a year, because it's so ridiculous. But here's our reference number: S01674688.
Yes.
And I believe it's $823 to release it from customs. They're not even charging us for the year they've stored it because they want it out. And they may have crushed it by now, but I don't think so, amazingly. Amazingly. So that's the information. Yeah, I'd love to find out what it would cost to get it to Texas where it could actually be used and loved. And then how to get the money we've spent to Yoan. Like, we've already paid Yoan to pay them. I imagine we'll never get that money back. Hundreds of bucks. But we'll see. Anywho, any other cross topics? We've got one luxurious minute remaining. Cool. All right, guys. Epic builds. Jake, see you in a minute.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
Take care, Michael.
Thanks, everybody.